watching Kansas City Live with your hosts, Michelle Davidson and Michael Mackey, showcasing the people, places, and personality that make Kansas City a great place to live.
Being stuck in traffic can really start your day off on the wrong foot. But for many people across Kansas City, this morning was an unfriendly reminder. But what if you knew exactly when and where the bad traffic would be? Jim Bach is the author of the National Traffic Scorecard that just released the 100 best and worst traffic cities in the country. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Well, okay, where does Kansas City fall on the list? Do we have good or bad traffic?
So you guys actually do a little bit better than most. Kansas City is actually, it's in the top 100, but it's at the bottom of the list in the 80th spot or so. The worst city in the country is Los Angeles, as most people would expect. Drivers there waste about 60 hours a year in traffic.
But we're not as bad as LA. That's good to hear. Okay, where are the worst roads in Kansas City and when?
You know, that's an interesting thing. You know, we looked at the highways and interstates and ranked the 150 worst roads across the country. And, you know, fortunate enough for folks in Kansas City, I'm sure you have your share of bottlenecks out there, as you know all too well, but none of them bubbled up this year on our list. So that's good news for drivers in the Kansas City area, but I'm sure there's bad traffic there for sure.
So on average, how much time do people in Kansas City and around the Midwest waste every year stuck in traffic?
Yeah, about 12 hours a year is about the time that's wasted, so about half a day in traffic. And, you know, the worst day of the week is Thursday afternoons are the worst times to be on roads across the country and in Kansas City. And then Tuesday mornings, too, also tend to be the worst days. The reason why that is, we find, you know, when people take a long weekend, they take a Friday or they take a Monday, and what that means is either the tail end of that Thursday commute or the morning commute on Tuesday tends to be a little bit worse as folks head back to work.
Makes sense. All right, what can drivers do to help reduce traffic problems here in Kansas City?
Well, you know, I think, you know, so many drivers just kind of submit themselves and just sort of feel like, you know, this is my commute, this is my lot in life. But, you know, there's great tools out there, you know, whether you're checking the traffic report on your morning news or if you're out there on the road and an accident pops up, you get stuck in a jam unexpectedly. There's great apps out there for your phone that you can check, and you could actually see, you know, should I stay here on the highway or are the other side streets and local roads going to be any better? In fact, INRIX, we offer a free app called INRIX Traffic that helps folks do that. So I highly encourage folks to download it. Even myself, I went to Disneyland last summer with my family, and even though I'm in the worst city in the country, I never spent any time in traffic on that entire week-long trip.
Wow, except for when you're actually at the amusement parks. Then, of course, there's a lot of foot traffic you have to worry about.
Yeah, there's even apps for that, believe it or not. So I never waited in line for a ride either.
So your app is free. Are there any other apps that you'd recommend?
You know, if folks want to have an app that integrates traffic with navigation so they can get turn-by-turn directions, you know, to places they're not familiar to and always know the best route, there's some really good apps. MapQuest actually has a great mobile app. MotionX is a company out of California that not a lot of people heard of, but they have an app called GPS Drive that's really good as well. So those are both great nav apps for folks that have our traffic in them.
Great. Well, is it possible to forecast how long your trip will take before you leave your home?
There definitely is. That's one of the unique aspects of our INRIX Traffic app. We actually will look at, you know, historical patterns. What's the current traffic like? Has there been an accident along a route? Is there a big sports game in town, or, you know, is school in session or not? Believe it or not, school actually increases traffic congestion 10% because more people are driving at the same time, taking their kids to school and getting them in the afternoon. And our app allows you to look up to 8 hours in advance and see what you might expect out there on the roads before you even leave the house.
Great. Now, what does traffic congestion say about the local economy?
Well, you know, one thing that we're finding since we started to do this study 6 years ago, that so goes traffic, so goes our economy, for better or worse. I mean, the good news is that, you know, when traffic's bad out there, it means that, you know, the economy's humming along, your 401k and your investment portfolio is doing well. But when traffic's not up, that means, you know, people aren't going to work, they're not spending money. It means businesses aren't shipping products. So we find a definite correlation. Traffic congestion dropped 30% in 2008 when the recession hit, and it's struggled to come back since, but it's up 4% so far in the first 3 months of 2013, along with employment numbers. So hopefully, you know, we're back on the mend for good as far as the economy goes.
Who knew we'd embrace traffic? All right. Thank you
Yes.
so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Let's head over to Michael.
All right, thanks.